Chonikom Itakuyo Yase. I just wanted to go ahead and throw up like a couple of different names for holidays that I've found. So, and I know like a lot of Native Americans don't like celebrating some of these. I just wanted to kind of I put some of the names of the bigger ones that are kind of the accepted names for those holidays in Lakota. But I did also find like 4 other holidays that I'm gonna stick up here that I believe would have been holiday like celebrations that were actually traditional Lakota celebrations. So, but let's just go ahead and get through these ones first. So, first off is New Year's Day, Omaka Techa, literally Techa, brand new Omaka year. St. Patrick's Day, obviously Patrick Ompetu. Easter, Kini Ompetu. Independence Day, Bloka Chokaya. I'm guessing that since they really don't consider this much of an independence for them, they have a completely different word for it. The closest thing that I could find to this was a reference to the word for midsummer. This seems to kind of be a modified form of that, so maybe that's where that comes from, but I honestly don't know. Halloween, Itoge Kitompi, I sincerely haven't the slightest clue what the heck that means. Thanksgiving, Ompetu Umpilamaya, or the Day to be Thankful, and Christmas. There's kind of 2 different ones that they have, I guess, depending on whether you're religious or not. You have Jesus Tompi, which is kind of obviously the more religious one, and the non-religious is Wosh Bibi, which is kind of a reference to opening presents. So that's kind of what I have there. Take it as you will. I know a lot of Native people aren't incredibly thrilled about those, especially the Thanksgiving one. But now I was able to find what I believe to be 4 Lakota holidays. I'm not entirely sure when these take place, but from the references that I've been able to find, they sound very much like they were holidays and like yearly celebrations. So that's kind of and not necessarily just religious ceremonies. So that's kind of what I'm gonna do next. Now, first is throwing of the ball. I don't know when it takes place. Possibly March or April is my best guess. The reason I think this is probably a holiday is because the way that it told what the celebration was and how it was celebrated seemed kind of overly specific in a way where if it was to a specific function, it would be weird to have it on a regular basis. It kind of seems more like a one-time yearly celebration. But the point of the throwing of the ball is, or Lakotaiapi, is to celebrate orphans. It's usually done by kind of having a small ceremony and giving presents to orphaned children. So I guess that's like something that you can integrate into your daily life if you really want to have that connection to your culture. Obviously that's kind of a little bit depressing, but it's up to the person it's up to the individual to see what they see in it. Now you have the Sundance, Wiwoyo Kwachipi. This is the name of just like a basic religious dance, but it is also the name of a holiday associated with the dance that possibly occurs at some point in the summer. And basically it's just kind of a celebration of bounty and family and kind of having the chance for everyone to be together. Now you have Ghost Dance, Hoiwachipi. Again, a religious a religious dance that possibly has connections to an actual holiday. Now, there is kind of a long explanation of why I'm including this. There is kind of this very old. This idea goes back to about 1891, when a lot of natives, a Paiute native, came up with this idea of a form of social protest combined with kind of reinforcing their beliefs. Even though native religion was against the law at this point, he had managed to get an organizing together to have several tons of natives from multiple different reservations all over the country simultaneously do a ghost dance, invoking the spirits of their ancestors as a kind of social protest type thing, and to remind them of who they are and give them a sense of self and a sense of worth as a culture, to kind of just remind the world remind themselves that they're still there, they're still who they always were. But this idea of the ghost dance seems to go back a lot further. I see a lot of references in a lot of Algonquin cultures to something called the Feast of the Dead, and some of the cultures who had close contact with Siouan-speaking people, such as the Iroquois with the Shawnee, also called the Feast of the Dead the Ghost Dance. And I've been seeing from the different bits and pieces I've gathered from lots of different sources, it appears that the Feast of the Dead and the Ghost Dance are in fact the same thing, some sort of a holiday that seems very, very similar, like eerily similar to the Mexican holiday Day of the Dead. I've seen from Ojibwe culture references to vigils at the graveside. One thing I saw in the Iroquois, where not only did they call it both the Feast of the Dead and the Ghost Dance, but they brought up a point of a nickname for a Native American delicacy known as fry bread is, for them, ghost bread. And that reminds me of something that you see in the Day of the Dead ceremonies, where they buy these big round loaves of a type of sweet bread and place that on a shrine for the deceased member of the family that they gather around while they're having dinner on Day of the Dead. And then, of course, they kind of cut and divide the cake up. Now, fry bread is kind of based on sugar. It's not made the same way it always was, but Algonquin people, how they got sugar was, it was kind of a runoff of the distilling process of turning maple tree sap into maple syrup. So you can understand that that's kind of probably a pretty rare and costly thing to have. So what better way to use that would be for a special dish just for your Feast of the Dead celebration. So with the idea of how the Sundance is also a Lakota holiday as much as it's just a religious celebration, I think possibly the Ghost Dance may have been that way too. I mean, if you have the Feast of the Dead up here, the Shawnee clearly have the Ghost Dance celebration, which is the same as the Feast of the Dead. You have the Day of the Dead in Mexico. It was probably a very, very widespread religious ceremony throughout North America. So that's why I'm including that one. Okay, and then this is the last one that I got, Praying for the Fields, Owoju Lakotaiapi. I really don't... Lakota didn't really farm anything, so this might also, the fact that this even exists might also go back into my belief that maybe they were not so nomadic, or were not so unsettled back when they lived on the Mississippi River. But this is pretty simple. It's kind of just celebrated with some prayers and a parade. It's no big deal. But it seems to bear like a lot of similarities to a lot of field planting ceremonies that are kind of known as holidays all over the world and celebrated. So there's that one. So, take what you will. Mipi wakla na kopte he'ekash.